Oh my God. Hi, guys. Hi, how are you? Welcome to the show. It's not a show. This is not a show because I said there wouldn't be a show tonight, and I'm not a liar. So, welcome to the broadcast. How are you tonight? I'm miserable, you guys. Fucking abscess tooth again. I need to just break down, spend the thousands of dollars and get my teeth fixed, but my face is swollen. So, if I whistle or anything tonight and there's some going on, it's just that my whole fucking face is swollen again. And it hurts to talk, so I have no idea how long this is going to go. But hope you're well. Hope everybody's having a good day. And yeah, let's get into it. This is Monkey in the Morning. I'm Monk, and let's do it. I was just watching Turkey Tom's video about the Destiny stuff. And we're not going to go deep into the Destiny shit. I need to do a lot more deep diving before I talk about it at length, if I decide to. But he said something that it just annoys the shit out of me. So Destiny is sharing around, let's call them private videos of him having sex with people, and the people involved did not give permission for that. And the one girl that everybody apparently all knew that this was happening, and it's kind of funny because some of them are on video saying, I'm not going to tell anybody, but I'm just going to distance myself from this guy. And the guy who finally comes out with the allegations, they're calling him an asshole because the girl who was involved, she didn't want this to get out there. We're talking about a crime in some states, and at the very least, it's within the civil code to be able to sue somebody for doing this shit. And we see this with like rape as well, where people are like, the victim really doesn't want that to be, it's their choice whether or not to come out with this stuff. And I fucking hate that line of thinking that you're going to let this guy get away with being a douchebag, and that the person who did out him for being a douchebag is the real problem because the victim didn't want their name out there, so that other people could be victimized. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Thank you, Donald Camp, for that feminist $12. I had a bad cold and 5 days from home working 12-hour shifts, so I kind of feel your pain. Oh, damn, dude. Hope you're feeling better, man. Yeah, I went to sleep at about 12 today, noon, and I woke up around 3:45 because I rolled over and went onto my face, and it hurt. And I was like, well, that's not good. And I was going to go back to sleep, but I'd left the TV playing, and for some reason, Amazon started a movie. And so there was some loud shit going on the screen too, so I couldn't get back to sleep. And I walked upstairs, and before my wife said anything else to me, she goes, is your face swollen? Like, yeah. So she made me go to the doctor. Anyway, so yeah, I really do hate this nonsense where, and I understand it, right? We don't want to re-victimize the victim. I understand that. Instead, you'd rather have more victims? Why? That makes no sense to me. And we're just kind of okay with it as a society because we're just like, yeah, she doesn't want to be re-victimized. What about your fellow citizens? What if we could do that with murder, right? Like, there's a spell in D&D, and this is for hypothetical. No, I don't think Dungeons and Dragons is real. But there's a spell in D&D that allows you to speak with the dead, right? Let's say we could use that. And you went to a murder victim, and you're like, hey, we caught this guy who killed you. And before we proceed, we just want to get your take on it. And that person's like, I really don't want to be re-victimized here, so no charges should be pressed. We should just let that go. Would anybody be okay with that? Would anybody be like, oh, well, then, yeah, that murderer should be allowed to go because that person's worried about their reputation. Anyway. And in this case, we're not even talking about like a rape or anything. We're literally talking about somebody who did hoey shit on video and let somebody tape it or taped it for them, however that breaks down. Nobody cares these days, right? And now the only reason this chick cares is because she's one of Destiny's orbiters, and for a long time, people have been hinting that she, like all of his orbiters, had sex with him to get ahead in her career, and she's adamantly denied that, until the video came out. Tall person, thank you. Hope people feel better than me. Sick all weekend. Temp hit 104 for a brief bit. Happy National Chocolate Cake Day. Holy shit, dude. I hope you feel better, man. Is everybody just sick now? It's that time of year, isn't it, right? We're in the middle of flu season, aren't we? This is the nasty time of year. Everything's cold and fucking gross, and kids are back in school, so shit's being spread everywhere. Schools are just little petri dishes. Can we just admit that? But yeah, I don't get this whole thing about letting these people get away with it and then blaming, like, you're the bad person for telling everybody what a bad person he is. Anyway, thanks for sharing the links there, Retro. All right, where are we? I wanted to talk about a couple of things tonight. This really isn't a show because there's not a cohesive lead story. I mean, the lead story is Colombia, right? Which, by the way, I found out I spell wrong. I don't care enough about the country of Colombia to pay attention to the fact that it's C-O-L-O instead of C-O-L-U. That's on me. I'm a bad speller. I'm okay with it. And I learned that today. So they say you learn something new every day, which is not true. But they say that, and today it was true. So Colombia's, the country, is spelled with an O. Gotcha. I'm with you on it now. But we sent 2 plane loads of Colombians back to Colombia, and Colombia was like, nah, bro, you can't send us our trash, because that's what they are. These are criminals. And not just criminals, hey, we found some Colombians in America. We're talking about actual criminals too, because Colombia was using us as their Australia and sending their fucking prisoners here. So Colombia is like, no, you can't send your people here. And Donald Trump was like, oh, really? Well, how about this? How about I put big ass tariffs on you until you comply with me? To which, I'm not making this shit up, the Colombian president was like, well, then I'm going to put tariffs on you. Oh, shit. Wait a minute. We rely more on them than they do us? Oh, well, fuck. Yeah, go ahead and bring them prisoners in. They backed down in an hour. It took an hour. And they were like, yeah, Mr. President, we sorry. We so sorry. It reminded me very much of when Mexico and Canada back in Trump's first administration, where he's like, we're going to renegotiate NAFTA. And Mexico's like, yes, sir. And Trudeau up there, Castro Jr. is like, no, we're not doing that. And Trump went, all right. Well, then we're just going to slap some tariffs and shit on the stuff coming across from Canada. And Castro went, I'm sorry. I meant, yes, sir. Save yourself. Thank you for becoming a member for month number 8. Did you watch Vance's first interview? Wait, get back on my screen. I don't work to oversell it, or I don't want to oversell it, but it was fucking amazing. No, who did he do it with? I haven't been online much, so I go to the doctor, come home. We had dinner, late lunch, early dinner, and I sat in here for a little bit playing on the computer for not very long at all, and then I went back to bed. I just woke up maybe an hour ago. No, actually, I guess I've been up for about 3 hours now. Man, time flies when you're trying to read on the internet. But anyway, no, I haven't watched very much at all. Anyway, back to our Colombia crap. Before Colombia backed down, we had quite a few shitheads giving us their takes on this, including my favorite, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Cortez here, who probably should change her name after the way the Spanish treated the Mexicans. That's kind of that's problematic. The last name there, Cortez, pretty instrumental in the imperial realm. Thank you, Adibisi. Colombia is spelled wrong. I'm with you, Monk. I never paid attention to the fact that it was spelled different. And again, I'm American, so I really don't give a shit. Do you think they care about how America is spelled? Because I doubt they do, if I'm being honest. And I don't blame them for not caring. But anyway, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said, to punish Colombia, Trump is about to make every American pay even more for coffee. Yeah, liberal women are really worried about the price of coffee as they go pay for their lattes and iced coffees and their ventis and all that bullshit. I pay way too much for this coffee already. Yeah, you do. I don't want to hear you whine about how much coffee is going to cost. I love that that's where she went with this. Look, I know you're not a white woman, but you're basically a white woman, okay? And you are the pumpkin spice crowd. And you're going to sit here. When you were supposedly so poor you could barely make ends meet as you're running for Congress, you're running around making sure you had your Starbucks every day. Every fucking day. Like, look, I got a Starbucks. Because you had to have that status symbol. And now you're going to fuck around and be like, I can't believe they're going to make coffee more expensive. But anyway, remember, we pay the tariffs, not Colombia. Okay, we need to talk about that real fast too, because there is some truth to that if the tariffs go up, then it gets passed on to the consumer. But what that does is it ends up driving down sales. And that hurts the people trying to make money off of those sales, which would be Colombia. So they would be the ones paying. Yeah, we'd have to pay a little bit more if we wanted to drink some coffee. I don't drink coffee, so I'm not as passionate about this as most people because I think coffee tastes like shit. And frankly, we drink coffee just as a fuck you to the British anyway, because tea is demonstrably better. It's all just mud, but we drink it and tell ourselves how great it tastes. Coffee's gross. Tea is tolerable. Where are we? Trump is all about making inflation worse, for working class Americans, not better. He's lining the pockets of himself and the billionaire class. All right, back that up a minute. He's going to make coffee more expensive coming from Colombia, and that's making him and Elon Musk money. Can you explain that? I know you can't because you're Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and you're basically half an IQ point from actually drooling at all times. But how do you make that jump? And can we please stop pretending the Democrats aren't out there sucking off billionaires constantly? Soros has been associated with them for decades. A fucking billionaire funding all their shit. You have people like Gates funding all their shit. But all they do is it's those fucking billionaires who disagree with me. I'm just shocked that they haven't come out already and just said that, right? All billionaires who don't agree with me are bad. The ones who agree with me are tits. They're totally tits, man. Anyway, women, these little fucking, I have to have my latte and my Apple computer and my iPhone, bitching about coffee being a little bit more expensive. You know what my dad used to pay for coffee? It's like 50 cents. And then Starbucks comes along and suddenly people are paying $5 for a coffee that's not even the size of a small at McDonald's. And people are like, this is the greatest thing ever. I got to have it every day. And now they're like, my coffee might go up 25% tariff, even if it was all passed along to the consumer. Yeah, your coffee would go up 25. That would suck. It would. It wouldn't last that long. In fact, it lasted so long, they backed down immediately. It lasted the same amount of time as a drama in the 80s. It lasted the same amount of time as an episode of ER. Thank you, Keldrig. The Democrats are just mad that their cocaine is going to be more expensive. Yes. I learned about cocaine and coffee from Beverly Hills Cop. All right. What was the other point I was about to make on this? There was another one I had before I move on to our. Oh no, I did want to move on to our other moron before I put a bow on this story, because the other one was Anna Navarro, and she had a slightly different take. She said most of the flowers imported into the U.S. come from Colombia. Happy Valentine's Day, America. Because you see, we're going to have 25% increase in the cost of flowers, which totally aren't overpriced already. I don't know if y'all have bought flowers recently. I haven't done it in years because Lady Monkey told me to stop buying her flowers. But the last time I bought her a bouquet, it was like $80. Flowers are already way overpriced. So yeah, that would have, at $80, you had a 25% tariff. That's another $20. So $100 for that same bouquet, just because Colombia doesn't want to take back their illegals. Now, Colombia says the reason they didn't want to take them back is because of the planes that they were on. They were on military transports, which is fine, I guess. You don't want your military planes in here. We're not talking about an armed plane. You're talking about a transport plane. But they're like, no. Anyway, when they backed down, they were like, yeah, you can even send them back on those, which is important later. But in this case, I wanted to talk about Anna. If you go to Anna's page and stuff and you look at her, she is totally catfishing everybody. She's got pictures of her when she was like 20 and only weighed, normal amounts. And now she looks like she ate 3 of her at 20, but she's still using all those old pictures. Anna, we know you don't give a good goddamn about flowers on Valentine's Day. The only thing you care about is making sure you get your pot of gold and all the candies you can get your fat little fingers on. I do like that Colombia almost fucked around and made flowers not a thing on Valentine's Day again. But here's the thing. It's true that the United States, we import most of our flowers from them. They are not the biggest flower producer on the planet, though. That's one of the Nordic countries. I want to say Sweden or Switzerland. I don't remember. I looked this shit up earlier today, and I don't really care. But there are other options out there, and that we get most of them from Colombia is why they back down so fast. Flowers are their 4th largest export. You have coffee and flowers, 2 things Americans use by the truckload, right? We are their economy in this regard. And their president is like, fuck you. We're going to tax some of the stuff that we don't even buy from you guys. I'm going to crash my economy, aren't I? Maybe we should just take back our fucking criminals. Dangerous, thank you. I'm shocked these countries don't want to take their citizens back. I've been reliably informed. These are the good law-abiding citizens who just want to make a better life for themselves, right? Yes, indeed. You would think they would want these upstanding individuals back there making their own country great again. No. That's right. A lot of these countries, Donald Trump was absolutely right. They said they were using us to empty their prisons because it's what they were doing. It's expensive to keep prisoners. You got all these international laws, so you can't just kill them. Hang on. Excuse me. All that fucking hurt. But it's expensive to keep your prisoners. So a lot of these places, yeah, they were just sending us our prisoners. And if you go back to, let's go to Mexico for a minute, because we'll get to those little shitbags in a second. They were literally telling their poor people, go to America, and giving them pamphlets. You can still find the pamphlet online that the Mexican government was giving out, telling them how to get their poor people to come live here instead of down there. When you get to America, do this, this, and this, so you can get in and stay in. That's what their governments are doing. And I'm supposed to give a rat's ass about their flowers? Ladies, you should refuse to take flowers this year. Even after all this, we should send Colombia a message like, don't fuck with us. Take your people back. We're not your dumping ground. And that's the point I wanted to kind of wrap up on, is that a lot of countries are about to find out they need us way more than we need them. All of the trinkets and shit throughout would we suffer for a while without, I don't know, Nikes? Maybe. Is it gonna hurt us more than them if we can't have little 10-year-old Indonesian kids making our electronics? No, because they need the money. And that doesn't make it a good thing that they're using little kids to give us cheap shit. But the reality is America has acted for way too long like we have no leverage over any of these other countries. Like, do you remember when Trump got into the trade war with the Chinese? A trade war he ended up winning. Yeah, we had to subsidize our farmers a little bit. But everybody's like, oh my God, he's going to cause a trade war and everything's going to go to hell. And then China looked at their books and went, oh shit, we get a lot of money from America. Maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe we should stop being douchebags. Maybe we should give in to the little bit of shit they're asking for here. Because they need us way more than we need them. America is the land of milk and honey. We could do basically everything we need ourselves. Would it be a little bit more expensive? A little bit, sure. Could we do it though? Yes, absolutely. We have the resources for it. Most of what we use, we can get from our own ground. It's just, hey, if they're destroying theirs, why not buy it from them instead? I know we're not supposed to think like that, right? We're supposed to be good citizens of the world and no, there should be no environmental impact anywhere. Get fucked. USA, yeah. We have a problem in the US where so many people, and I was explaining this to somebody in our audience the other day, the number of Americans that hate how much influence and power and wealth America has is astounding. It'd be like being on the Chiefs, right? Because the Chiefs they won tonight, so they're going to their third Super Bowl in a row. First time in a long time a team has a chance to, I think it's the first time ever that they actually have a chance to three-peat. But can you imagine being on the Chiefs and be like, man, we're just winning too much. We should let the other teams win this one because we already got a couple of rings. We've won Super Bowls before, and the Chargers ain't never won one, so we should just let them do it. It is amazing how many Americans hate being successful. I saw a graph, and I've seen it before, but Elon tweeted it out again tonight, or somebody tweeted and Elon retweeted it, about the number of people that are prescribed antidepressants in the world per 1,000. Is it per 1,000 or per 100,000? I got to bring it up and look at it directly. Hang on. But anyway, it shows that, can you guys guess who gets prescribed the most antidepressants in the world? I'll give you a hint. It's my country. It's us. It's us. Nobody gets prescribed more than us. Yeah, this is per 1,000 people. Per 1,000 people, 110. We have 11 or 1.1% of our population. 1.1. Almost as many as we have trans on antidepressants. Next on the list is Iceland with 106. Australia, Canada, Denmark, Sweden. Are you guys noticing a pattern here? Portugal, United Kingdom, Finland, Belgium, Spain, Norway, Luxembourg. Still noticing a pattern? These are Western countries. They're all Western countries. And the worst of them is us. And Elon said overprescribed. And there might be part of it that's that. There's part of it, doctors pushing pills because they get kickbacks, or people get stuck on these things, and then you're stuck with them forever. And so you got to keep going back to that doctor. Helps keep his numbers up, I guess is how I want to say that. There might be some of that. But how about this? Maybe it's because in America, on a rather constant basis, we're told how horrible we are. We're told how oppressed we are. We're told how we can't get ahead. We're told how rich people are making us pay more for coffee. Maybe there's a problem here that the reason these people are on antidepressants is because they've been beaten down. Who in America has the right to be fucking depressed? Now, I realize some depression is chemical. Seems to be with some people. it really does seem to run in my family, or yeah, that's a whole different discussion, but runs in my family. So I understand that there are people, but a lot of these people go on this. I really do believe it's because they just do not have any real fucking problems in their life. So they sit there and they just look for every problem. And this is kind of the Sarkeesian thing. Everything's sexist, everything's racist, except instead of that, it's everything is depressing, everything's horrible, everything is oppressive, and we're all. Why is there even a reason? I think a lot of it really is just psychological beatdown from those of us who are in a position not to feel that way, needing to have some kind of strife in our life. And yeah, I just have a ex-wife. That's fair. Dark Resurrect, thank you for that feminist $12. Oh, okay. I got a mini spa with my wife about, mini spat with my wife about this topic, but for the military. She asked if we really need to spend as much money on our military. I told her that I told her that we can be more efficient with how we spend, but yes, if not us, then who? We keep the world quiet. Yeah, the military is one of those places where they're like, America spends 20 times as much as the next country in the military. Okay, that's been true for a while, and it's been true basically since we stopped the world from warring with itself. The last time America didn't do that, yeah, we kind of had two big spats break out on the continent of Europe that we had to go get in there and fix. Keldrick, thank you. Denmark is pretty high on that list. I thought it was supposed to be the happiest country on earth. Doesn't seem like it to me. Just one more lie that socialists like to peddle. I wish I could say I was shocked, but I'm not. Well, when they do those if you've never read those happiness indexes, it's really, and they're about as scientific as going outside, sticking up your finger and going, feels like it's 50 degrees today. I don't have a better analogy than just that. But anyway, when it comes to the military, I'm not even saying other countries can't spend as much. Fuck, Europe really needs to start defending themselves more. But just because we have a big military doesn't mean we need to use it. And it's one of those instances, and World War II taught us this. It's better to have that and not need it than need it and not have it, right? Because when Germany starts building up their military so big and so quickly, nobody can keep up with them, and they just march across Europe, take over France with basically no fucking problem. And the American industrial machine had to kick into gear, and we had to catch up. And we learned from that, or should have learned from that, that catching up is much harder than just being ahead in the first place. So anyway, yeah, Americans just get beat down on a constant basis, told how horrible we are, all the horrible shit our ancestors did, all the horrible shit we do without even realizing. You microaggressed me. Microtransaction. Whoops. You microaggressed me. We really should call them microtransactions, because that's what it really is. It's all about the money. You have people who are paid to just make people feel like shit constantly. Just sit back and be like, did you know that in 18 something really bad happened? And it was probably one of your colored people who did it. It's fucking asinine. It really is. We have it so good that we can sit around and worry about stupid shit like man spreading. We can sit around and worry about stupid shit like men like it cooler in the office because they're wearing jackets, and that's not fair to the ladies who aren't wearing jackets. That was a real thing. Third wave feminists threw a whole big fit over how cold it is in the office. It was sexist. It wasn't sexist. It's just that you should probably wear more clothes. Put on some pantyhose, you dirty whore. Anyway, that's not nice. This is where we are as a society, that things are so good. That's the kind of bullshit we can sit around. There are people right now freaking the fuck out because we're kicking illegals out of our country. That is where we are in America, that is something that you have protest going on about. You go back to the 60s, right? I think a lot of America just wants the 60s back. They feel like they missed their chance to be meaningful. You have people fighting for racial equality, treating a man the same, whether he's black, white, Asian, whatever the fuck he is. We should all be treated the same. That is a noble cause. Those criminals should be allowed to stay here is not a noble fucking cause. But you would think it's the same fucking thing, the way these idiots are protesting the same fucking way. And that leads me to the Mexicans. Now, I do not have anything against Mexicans. I need to get that on the record because I live in America in 2025. But the Mexicans are coming into my country and acting like these shitheads we're about to see, who are waving around the Mexican flag. Go fuck yourself. Get the fuck out of my country. Go back to Mexico. It's so great there. You love Mexico so much. Go to fuck back. Lots of Mexican flags. There's a few other flags in here as well. Hang on. I need to check my own volume to know. Okay. Yeah, this is kind of loud. So headphone alert on this one. But we need to listen to it because the end of it is very important. This is in Dallas, by the way. I don't know if you notice, occasionally in there you see the little Islamic headscarf looking thing, that weird white and checkered thing they wear. You'll see those in this crowd too. Because if it's a liberal gathering, there's going to be people who support terrorists there. Right now, they're chanting, "Fuck Donald Trump," if you can't tell what they're saying. But wait for it.
Don't know what you're doing.
At the end there, they start chanting Mexico. And can we just, will it actually play? Can we just point out the Cholo standing in the front here? He even got the hairnet on. Fuck, he's like right out of a 90s movie. Motherfucker looked like he just popped out of GTA San Andreas. That's Caesar right there. These are people protesting in my country, in the United States of America, waving Mexican flags, chanting "Fuck Donald Trump," and chanting Mexico. Why is this allowed to happen? Why is this even a thought people had that this would be a good idea? And why is anybody defending this kind of shit? Oh, we have a right to protest. Okay, what are you protesting by chanting Mexico in the streets of Dallas? You're not protesting Mexico. If you like Mexico so much, Dallas, not that far from the border, much closer than I am to the border. Walk your happy ass back over to Mexico. You should be, look, even if you're like, I don't like this thing, you should be chanting USA, right? Because this is where you want to be. Wouldn't that be the thing that makes sense? No, you're chanting Mexico? Go fuck yourself. Thank you, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist $12. You know, part of me wishes we would be as authoritarian as they claim we are for about a year. Prove to them how good they have it. And Dark Resurrect, I understand that thinking, but that's why I want to send them elsewhere. That's why I want to send them to like Bosnia or any actually oppressed place in the world and have them, give them 6 months. Like, look, we're going to drop you off right here with just the clothes on your back. We will be back here in 6 months. And if you can make it, we'll take you back home. That's what we really need to do. North Korea, see, the problem with doing it with North Korea is you could see Kim Jong-un using that as a propaganda thing and treating him real well for 6 months. Thank you, Retro. I think it has a lot to do with actual friends and family being replaced with social media. Well, you say that, but I don't go on Facebook very much. Most of what I know about Facebook comes from my wife. I just don't even go over there anymore. Part of it is because people keep trying to break into my account, and I can only access it on my phone now. It won't let me do it on my computer for some reason. But part of it is I don't want to hate people that I'm related to. And one of my uncles, who, by the way, was a pastor, is pretty much the epitome of the left. My family is getting nothing but sermons from this guy about how horrible Donald Trump is. My wife also told me about an argument she had where a person I used to know from Walmart had tweeted out, Facebooked out, posted about how if we kicked out all the Mexicans, who's gonna pick our fruit for free or cheap or whatever their argument is. And Lady Monkey answered back, "This kind of sounds like you're advocating slavery. You want to use them for your cheap produce?" To which the lady got really mad about. I'm like, well, isn't that what you're saying? Like, hey. If you pay Americans enough, they'll pick fruit. I promise you. You just got to pay a lot more for it. And your argument, anytime they have these arguments, who's going to clean our floors? You don't know how to mop? Who's going to watch our kids? How about you? How about your family? They talk about this stuff in ways that if you said it in any other context, you'd be like, "Ooh, really? You want to pay? You want to bring in labor from another country and pay them less than you'd pay Americans to do your menial labor? Does that sound right to you?" These are the liberals, right? The ones who are like, "We need equality of all." Well, if you're going to do the equity thing, right, wouldn't you have to be paying these Mexicans who are doing the horrible job of picking apples the same amount that you'd pay anyone else? It's not, though. And we know they know that it's not, because that's why they always go, your prices are going to go up. But they think they're the good ones. They really do think they're the good ones. Section 230 needs an overhaul. Why are we talking about Section 230? What'd I miss? Anyway, yeah, we got people of various descents in that crowd chanting Mexico in the streets of America, because Mexico's so great, they're here. Go back to Mexico. Go make Mexico good. Mexico is a very resource-rich country. Mexico should be one of our rivals economically in the world. Unfortunately, it's run by a bunch of shitbags and drug lords. And I mean, we had our time with prohibition and the drugs running our major cities and stuff. That's still going on. No comment on the Randy Quaid video, Monkey. Retro, I haven't seen it, and it was apparently sent to me, but I've been live, so I haven't had a chance to watch it since it was sent. It's not that I have no comment on it, I just haven't seen it, so I try not to talk about shit I haven't seen. Or at least not in any kind. I don't even know what it's about. Oh, is this the JD? That sounds horrible. I'll have to find a different version of that video. Should we watch the JD Vance one? I don't even know what it was about. I think this might be the same one I was just. Why is that so quiet? Do I just no? It's real quiet. I don't know if we can watch this, guys. Hang on, let me check and make sure it's not just my headphones, because sometimes I don't get them plugged in all the way and the sound doesn't come through right. We had that problem the other day. Yep, it was just my headphones. Okay, so yeah, we can watch this. Da, 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 da. Man, I was like, why is that so fucking quiet? Okay. Oh man, did I really blast your ears with that protest? Because that sounded loud to me when my headphones clearly weren't working properly. So, Retro, what is the Randy Quaid thing? Where are we at here? I'm not racist. My cleaner, gardener, and nanny are Mexican. Yeah. They have no problem with that shit, man. I won't spoil the surprise, but won't want to play. You won't want to play it on the show. Okay, I'll check it out after the show, Retro. What the hell? What did I just do? I clicked something on my screen accidentally. Anyway, don't watch it, monkey. Why? Now I really want to. Is it on X? Don't worry, we're not going to bring it up. People are telling me not to watch it. And if Retro's saying don't watch it on the show, I trust his opinion on that. But now I'm really curious. All right. Well, this is JD Vance, his first interview on Face the Nation with White Lady. I don't know who the White Lady is. I'm sure I've heard her name before because I watch way too much of this shit. But I'm going to be honest, these newscasters mostly run together. So unless it's like one of their major anchors like Jake Tapper, or Nora Roberts, or who else? There's a couple more that I know by name. But anyway.
Pete Hegseth, it was a tie. Bipartisan opposition, smallest margin since the job was created. You had to break that tie.
Bipartisan opposition because 3 Republicans went with the Democrats. You guys ever notice that that's how bipartisanship works in DC and in the media? I know you have because we've talked about it before. I don't know what JD is going to say. I've not watched this guy, so if I'm getting ahead of him, it's just going to be the way it is. Bipartisan, 3 Republicans went with the Democrats. What that should have been called is highly partisan. On both sides, the left and the right, were highly partisan there. They were like, nope, I'm going this way. And most of it probably was just for their political leanings. Most Republicans probably did not look into Hegseth deeper than, now Trump nominated him, I'll push him through. But in a bipartisan manner, it wasn't bipartisan. Fuck.
Pete Hegseth, it was a tie. Bipartisan opposition, smallest margin since the job was created. You had to break that tie. If the nominee can't unite your party, how's he going to lead 3 million people?
Wait, I'm sorry. Fuck you. Did you ask this when Kamala broke ties? Because I know there's some that Kamala broke ties on. And I know for a fact this bitch didn't ask those questions then. She didn't ask him of Kamala during the campaign. Get fucked.
Well, look, I think Pete is a disruptor. And a lot of people don't like that disruption. But, Margaret, that disruption is incredibly necessary. If you think...
Wait a second. What was her question exactly?
In opposition, smallest margin since the job was created. You had to break that tie. If the nominee can't unite your party, how's he going to lead 3 million people?
Again, only 3 people from the party broke away. He's not there to unite the people. He's there to make the decisions. And if some people don't like those decisions, they can either try to force him out or they can quit. She's making this sound like Pete Hegseth is going to be running in Congress or something. How's he going to unite the people? That's not his fucking job, you idiot. The military is not partisan. It's not supposed to be. We know that, especially in recent times, they've come out a lot more partisan. You used to see it in the voting, be like, oh, wow, the military all voted for Republicans. But over the last decade or so, we've seen top brass openly being liberal shitbags. But anyway, I don't understand this question. Does she not understand what the Secretary of Defense does? Did she think Lloyd Austin was out there bringing people together? Because his job was to have our military ready in case we needed them. Maybe that's the problem with Afghanistan, is that people like this retard were like, he's uniting the people. Who cares if he kills our soldiers? How's he going to unite the people? That is a fucking that is an insultingly dumb question. All right, I'm sorry. I don't know why it took me a moment for that to catch my brain, what she actually asked there. But that is an exceedingly stupid question. And that's what JD should have said. Hey, white lady, that is a dumbass question. He's there to be the boss, not a hug box.
Well, look, I think Pete is a disruptor, and a lot of people don't like that disruption. But Margaret, that disruption is incredibly necessary. If you think about,
Well, for the record, I don't know how much of a disruptor he is. I'm just trying to be fair here. Did he really disrupt things on Fox News or when he was in the military? I'm not necessarily looking for a disruptor. I hope he is for the current bullshit that's been going on. But I don't think that him being a disruptor is what everybody at least is pretending to be mad about. What they're pretending to be mad about is that Donald Trump nominated him. And that's all you have to point out to this retard. Dark Resurrect, thanks so much for that feminist $12. Look, I love the military. And as someone who served, I don't care what the military thinks on politics. The military's job should be to kill our enemies and break shit. 100%. Yep. I wouldn't care about the Secretary of the Army coming out and going, I'd like trans PP, if our military was the fighting machine they should be, because that's their job. And it is dereliction of duty not to have them ready for that, because you put these people in literal life or death situations. And when you are more worried about your little army girl having lesbian parents than our fighting men and women being ready to fight, then there's a fucking problem.
all of those bipartisan massive votes, we have to ask ourselves, what did they get us? They got us a country where we fought many wars over the last 40 years, but haven't won a war about as long as I've been alive. They've got us a military with a major recruitment crisis, a procurement price crisis that's totally dysfunctional, where we buy airplanes for billions and billions of dollars, terrible cost overruns, the delivery dates are always delayed. So we need a big change. Now, admittedly, there are people who don't like that big change, but it is necessary, and it's explicitly what Donald J. Trump ran on. And I think part of the reason why the American people elected him their 47th president.
And to his point there, and to her dumbass question, I don't want Pete bringing everybody together when some of those people that you would be bringing together are the problems we've had, right? If Pete is making the Lloyd Austin crowd happy, then in my opinion, he's doing something wrong, because our military is a disaster right now. The men and women who put on the uniform, they're still doing okay. Some of them are still doing the best that they can. Remember the one trans soldier we saw? They're gonna make it so I can't wear lipstick. That dude's definitely not sending his best. I have a lot of respect for the people who put on the uniform, and I think that that's been diminished quite a bit by the people they're letting put on the uniform now. It's a volunteer army, so you take what you can get, but you still need to have some standards. I don't want somebody out in the field watching my back and their worry is, oh my God, if the enemy kills me, will I look pretty enough? Did I put on enough makeup to get killed today? Anyway, no, I don't want Pete Hegseth, unless it's them coming around to, hey, we need to make the military better. I don't want him making the people who have made our military what it is happy. I don't want them being like, I love Pete so much.
So the main objective is changing all of that?
Somebody didn't pay attention to the fucking election. or the week since he was inaugurated. Jesus. So the main thing is change? Yeah. Yeah. Why is that shocking to you? Why is that surprising to you? Why is white lady almost offended asking that question? Listen to her again. Listen to the inflection in this.
47th president.
So the main objective is changing all of that?
Look at her eyes. Like, oh, you're trying to change all this crap that you just mentioned? The overspending, the under training? You fucking bastards. Why would you want to change that? Have you seen their lipstick shades? Jesus Christ.
that it's going to be Pete Hegseth alone?
I'd say the main problem the main thing that we want Pete Hegseth to do is to fix the problems at the Department of Defense. And unfortunately,
Wait, you want to change the problems? He just listed off problems. And her question was, oh, so the main thing is change. JD, you are a nicer person than me, because my jaw I would have just sat there slack jawed looking at her like, did you really just ask that out loud on television? You know, there's cameras here, right?
there are many.
My face hurts.
We've gotten into way too many wars that we don't have a plan for winning. We've gotten into
No. You're right about that. But the thing is, winning is not the objective in so many of these wars. Going back, we haven't won a war in forever. We haven't won a war since World War II. You might be able to point to Iraq and say we won that. We were there way too long. But the reason is we don't fight wars to win them anymore. Starting with Korea, we really start fighting wars of containment. And in that regard, we contained Korea. In Vietnam, it was the same kind of thing. It was supposed to be a war of containment, keeping the North Vietnamese out of the South. And we bungled the shit out of that one, thanks to politicians that white lady here would be cheering for. We don't win wars. We don't have plans to win the wars, because winning the war is not the objective anymore. The objective is always containment instead of destroy your enemy, which is what war should be. That's what it should be. Look, no matter what you think about Russia and Ukraine, if Ukraine really wants to win that war, they need to crush Russia. I don't think they can, certainly not without our help. But otherwise, there's no win for them. Sorry, on top of a swollen face, I also have a runny nose. But yeah, the only way for them to win that is to crush Russia. Otherwise, you got them over your shoulder forever. And for the record, same thing with Russia. The only way to truly win that war is to crush Ukraine. Containment isn't a war. You're right. 100%. That's a political action. War means total destruction and defeat. Yes, absolutely. 100%. But that is not how our military has been using the war since the end of World War II. If World War II were fought the way that wars are fought now, our goal would have just been to push Hitler back into Germany and hold him there. That would have been the goal.
Way too many misadventures that we shouldn't have got into in the very first place. And our procurement process, Margaret, is incredibly broken. We're in an era.
Decisions.
Well, of course, they're policy decisions, but they're also.
But wait. Okay. Yeah, they're policy decisions, but there are also decisions that get to be made at like DOD. It's oh God, what a fucking bullshit thing to say. This is part of what the Chevron deference was about. When it comes to, and yes, this has been overridden by the Supreme Court, but what JD's talking about was still happening because the Chevron deference case just got overturned last year. Yes, the policymakers say we're going to approve X, Y, Z, and then it goes to DOD, and they're the ones charged with carrying out, including making decisions on how a lot of that money gets spent. So to sit there and simply go, those are policy decisions. They're not policy in the legislative way of saying policy. They're policy as in the guy who's running DOD gets to make that policy decision all on their own. And yes, the president needs to be okay with it, but it's not like we're talking about a legislative process where every little thing is voted on. Either you're a moron or you're a liar or both. And being that you're a white lady, I'm guessing it's both. I need to stop being so mean to white ladies because I feel bad because there are a lot of really smart white ladies out there. I'm married to one. I am the father of another. But it's amazing, especially with a haircut like this. If I knew nothing else about her, just her haircut, I'm like, oh God, she's going to talk to my manager. By the way, lady, my manager's me and he doesn't give a shit. I fucking hate the media. If every Republican voted for Pete, they would have just or they would insist the party is a cult captured by Trump. You're not wrong about that, Dangerous. But when when 3 vote no, the party is not unified. Wheel of Fortune has less spin. You're not wrong about any of that at all. True, because if all of them voted for it, they would be calling it a rubber stamp, right? And they'd be like, how could he be a leader when clearly he's just a rubber stamp and nobody looked at him for real? You know what I mean? Yeah, but thank you for that donation, Dangerous. Yeah, that is an excellent point. I hate the media, and I saw somebody today asking, is the media ever going to be trustworthy again? Can we ever trust the media again? And my immediate thought was, why did you trust them in the first place? And this is why, if you follow me on X, I have a post up there that says, do they even teach about yellow journalism anymore? Since man has had the ability to communicate, propaganda has been a thing. And while I don't think you should dismiss everything you hear in the news, but you should understand that it's all coming from a biased point of view. My point of view is a biased point of view. I do my very best to give you all sides of a story, but I think it's pretty clear that I have what would today be considered a conservative point of view, although I tend to lean more libertarian than conservative. And you need to keep that in mind, because it is very easy to be blinded by your own bias. And there are times that I'm wrong. There's times that I have to correct myself. And it's almost always because of my own bias and not catching myself. But when it comes to media, we know the power of mass media. We know the power of mass media. And I'm not talking about social media. I'm talking about going back to when we only had 3 television stations. There's a belief that since it's in this written form in the newspaper, or the guy on TV with the well-coiffed hair is saying it, then it must be true. But there's always a spin to it. Always a spin to it. And half the time they're not outright lying. And this is why I'm like, don't they teach yellow journalism? Yellow journalism didn't always lie about stuff. They would just highlight the parts they wanted to talk about, right? And one of the greatest cases recently of this, or in the not too far past, was the very fine people on both sides. Donald Trump 100% said those words. And if somebody said, hey, Donald Trump said there were very fine people on both sides, that is not a lie. But it's not the whole truth either. Thank you, Spud. Started late. Colombia tariffs lasted as long as the Anglo-Zanzibar War, 38 minutes. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, that shit was funny as shit. I just love these. And it's funny how many liberals came out and were like, oh, Donald Trump's going to cause everything to go bad. And then everything was fine. So they all look like overreactionary. That was so predictable. They do not have the economic might to fuck with us like that. I saw somebody say, hey, do you not realize that we have a trade deficit in our favor with Colombia? Like, do you not realize that without us, their economy crashes? Our economy doesn't crash without them. Theirs crashes without us. Tyrai, thank you. And that doesn't mean we should bully them, right? It doesn't mean we should use that in exploitative ways, although I'd have to hear about the way to decide whether I think it's exploitative, going back to my biases. But in this case, it was just take back your fucking citizens. And absolutely, we should have used it exactly how Trump did. Tyrai, thank you so much. In the summer of 2004, I was in Iraq. At least once a week, we would receive an email for a, what does it say? Patriot detail. This is rendering honors to the military members killed in action. The politicians didn't care about the bloodshed when we are used as their means. And look, I'm not trying to diminish what went on in Iraq, but for me, what happened in Afghanistan is just so despicable. We had no plan. We spent billions of dollars, and to the point where this is true. You can look this up. We had to spend the money. They were literally just giving warlords money to say that they had handed it out because they congressionally had to do it. Legislatively, you have to spend this money there. And our boys were getting killed. One of my very good friends from high school was killed there. And this was very touchy for me because this man never got to meet his youngest daughter. His wife was pregnant when he went overseas, and for a war that they had no intention of winning and didn't even seem to care about, just let go on for 20 fucking years. My friend died before he got to meet his daughter. That's what our military does. That's what they do today. And the men and women who are forced into those situations, I feel horrible for them. The people who put them in those situations can go fuck themselves. Anyway. And yeah, and I realize Iraq is not any better because they don't give a shit about it. They'll talk a good talk, you know, if there's a major thing where like we'll take the withdrawal from Iraq, or sorry, from Afghanistan. Like 13 soldiers were killed there. How many were killed overall? Why didn't you care about the 13 who were killed before that 13? You guys have the power of the purse. You never used it. You have the power to declare war. You never used it. You just turned that shit over to the president. Well, yeah, you do what you want to do. Tyrite. Oh, wait, that one I already got. Did I not refresh this? Thank you, Dangerous Spaces. There was a guy who said he thought Trump was racist because of very fine people. He kept watching the video and realized he had been, or that he was partly lied to. And yes, yellow journalism was one of my first classes. Yeah, but how long have you been out of school now? And you're also over in Australia, so I wonder about how it's taught here in the U.S. Yeah, I watched that one guy. I've talked about the video I watched. I don't know if it's the same one you did, but yeah, it was this black guy. He's like, yeah, I was told that Trump said this racist thing, and somebody told me to go watch the video. And he said, so I did. And I saw him say very fine people on both sides. I said, see, he is racist. And then I kept listening, and he said, not the Nazis or not the Klan and the white supremacists. And I realized I was lied to. And that started his path down looking into other ways he was lied to. Again, it's not a lie to say that he said very fine people. It's a lie to put it in the context that he was at all talking about racists and white supremacists, because he was quite clear on that part. Yes, I saw a black guy as well. About a decade out of school, admittedly. Yeah, and school has changed a lot in just the last decade. Dark Resurrect, thank you so much for that feminist $12. After we defeated Saddam and destroyed his military, we should have left. Not our problem what happens to that country afterwards. I'm going to disagree with you, and here's why. If we're willing to go in there and do that, spoils of war, that's ours now. We get to make that into us. That is our country now. Otherwise, they owe me for kicking him out. You know what I mean? And yeah, just another shithead is in there now. So what we should have done is conquest. That's what we should have done. Should have kept that shit and used their oil and made things even cheaper. But then it would have been a war for oil. No, that's the spoils of war. That's a real thing. Anyway, we should get back to this dumb lady in Vance.
Logistical and implementation decisions. If you look at where we are with the rise of...
Okay, she said those are policy decisions. He just mentioned the implementation. That's what I was talking about. Just because Congress says, you guys get $10 billion, doesn't mean Congress is the one who's deciding how every bit of that money is spent. That is done at the DOD. A lot of that is done at DOD.
Of artificial intelligence, with the rise of drone technology and drone warfare, we have to really top to bottom change the way that we fund the procurement of weapons, the way that we arm our troops. This is a major period of disruption, and we think Pete Hegseth is the guy to lead the job. Now, there's another element to this, Margaret, too, which is we believe that military morale, at least until the election of President Trump, was historically low. You had the Army missing recruitment goals by tens of thousands of soldiers, and already recruitment is starting to pick up because Pete Hegseth is fundamentally a warfighter's leader at the Department of Defense. He is a guy who sees not through the perspective of the generals or the bureaucrats. He looks at things through the perspective of the men and women that we send off to fight in our wars.
Both the Wall Street Journal and the National Review, conservative publications, as you know.
Okay, pause. Compared to other media, National Review, who, by the way, are basically never Trump, and Wall Street Journal are conservative, but that's a really, really low bar. So before we get into a question, I just have to point out, stop it. Let's go back.
Fight in our wars.
Both the Wall Street Journal and the National Review, conservative publications, as you know, have been critical of Tulsi Gabbard. The Review called her an atrocious nominee who deserves to be defeated. They compared her defense of Edward Snowden, the fugitive who stole U.S. secrets, to an attorney general who thinks the mob gets a bad rap. Her refusal to accept U.S. intelligence findings that Assad gassed his own people, they said, was like a nominee for OMB director not being able to count.
Yeah, the editors there had an opinion. That matters. Why? What did they think? She's what for DNI, right? National Intelligence. What did these people say about Blinken? What did they say about Austin? What did they say about all of the shitheads who are there now? And I'm going to be honest. I don't know if Assad was responsible for gas attacks. I honestly don't. They're the white hats. I'll leave it at that. There's enough questions in my mind that I could see Assad gassing people, but I could also see the other side gassing people and then blaming him. I mean, how many times have we seen our press used to tell lies? CNN, for instance, back in the first Gulf War. So she still hasn't conceded that Assad was responsible for the gas attacks. Whoops. I love that this is a thing. You have to agree with me. And as for Snowden, I'm not happy with what he did. We do have to have some rules and stuff. But in fairness, this is coming from a media who will tell you how great things like the Pentagon Papers were. People who routinely use classified information that's been handed off to them for news stories. But how dare Edward Snowden get this stuff and tell the world how shitty the U.S. is being? In most other contexts, Edward Snowden is their hero. But, yeah, exactly, Faithless. Snowden did the right thing in the wrong way. Yes, 100%. And so I'm not necessarily even against him, having a couple of years in jail for what he did, but it is amazing to me watching the press who, again, love the Pentagon Papers. They'll talk about it. I mean, they'll drop that name all the time to prove how great it is when somebody's a whistleblower. But with Snowden, he's the enemy of the people. Isn't that weird? Well, what's the difference there? What's the difference between Deep Throat and Edward Snowden? I don't even remember the guy who dropped the Pentagon Papers. What's the difference between him and Snowden? Deep Throat is famously the source for the Washington Post Watergate coverage. It's amazing to me how often they point to these whistleblowers who did the great things. But for some reason, they never give that to Snowden or to Assange. Obama. Yeah. That's why, because the Snowden stuff embarrassed Obama. That's why. Anyway, Daniel Ellsberg, is that his name? Is that the one who dropped Pentagon Papers? Pentagon Papers being the Vietnam War stuff. Anyway.
Does any of this give you pause putting her in charge of the U.S. intelligence community? Yes.
Okay, wait. Look at this shit. Watch how she speaks.
Any of
Look
this
at her
give you
eyes.
pause
Watch
putting
this.
her in charge of the U.S. intelligence community? Yes or no?
Like, she can't even look him in the eye. It's such. I am from CBS News, and I can't believe that you're not listening to what the National Review. Hey, what did the National Review say about Kamala? And how did you vote? Did you care this much about their opinion of her? Anyway, but she's incredulous that the Wall Street Journal and National Review have questions about Tulsi. Doesn't that give you pause? These two publications, because they're so right of me that on any other day I would be talking about what shit rags they are. How dare you? This is called confirmation bias, is what this shit is. Look, I'm not happy about Tulsi. I'll just be honest with you. I still don't trust the lady. I do not believe you go from Bernie bro to where she is now in that little bit of time without there being something. I mean, I guess you could say she had the pushback from the left. Because we see that with Joe Rogan too, right? He's a Bernie bro, and then he becomes a Trump supporter. And yeah, they both had, the leftist mob crap coming after them. But I still don't I don't trust Tulsi. But she's going to be in a position where she's not making economic decisions. So maybe having somebody in there whose first answer isn't always, we should kill him, is an okay idea. It's the one place where I haven't really had a problem with Tulsi in the bigger picture. I'm not saying war's never the answer. I'm not one of those people who's like, violence is never the answer. Sometimes it is. It absolutely is. If somebody's hitting you, hitting them back is a great way to stop it. Just taking it is not the answer. So there's times that it's necessary, but there's a lot of times where it's really not, and we really need to get out of that mindset. We need to be prepared to do violence, but we shouldn't do it as much as we do.
No, Margaret, look, these are publications that attacked Donald J. Trump obsessively.
Yep.
But those publications don't determine who the president is. The
And
American
ultimately
people
supported
do.
him.
And
ultimately supported him. Can we at least say reluctantly? Could you at least be honest about that? I fuck with the writers over at the not the Wall Street Journal. I don't pay much attention to them. The other publication she mentioned. Fuck. It wasn't that long ago. Did I mention my face hurts? I fuck with them constantly because even when they're giving Donald Trump credit for something, they are bashing him at the same time. National Review, thank you. They bash him at the same time. Like, yeah, Trump was right about this, but he's a douchebag, and so he's only right by default, and he shouldn't have done it the way that he did it to get it done. I guarantee you that when the Colombia story broke today, somebody at the National Review started writing a story that may or may not end up published about how horrible Donald Trump was for daring to stand up to the Colombians. And my guess would be that we will eventually see that article where it has exactly what I just told you. Donald Trump won this one, but it could have been the worst thing ever. He's such a horrible person. Anyway.
J. Trump is the person who determines who his cabinet is, not these publications that I think, frankly, have lost relevance.
The Senate will
Tulsi
ultimately
Gabbard's,
decide.
Well, the Senate will provide advice and consent as it's.
Well, that's a weird point for her to take. The Senate will decide. Didn't she start this off by questioning the Senate's judgment? Was that not literally her first question? How's he going to bring them together when there was bipartisan anger against him? Hey, sweet cheeks. Do you care what the Senate says or not?
its constitutional obligation, but I feel confident that Tulsi Gabbard will ultimately get through. Two things that are important to know about Tulsi. First of all, she is a...
I actually think of the remaining people that we know about, because there's a ton of people that have to get named, and a lot of them we'll never even talk about. But we have her, we have Loeffler coming up, we have Kash Patel coming up. Kash Patel is the one who's most likely not to get pushed through. Second is Tulsi. And not because they actually give a shit about whatever she's going to say or how she's going to lead the intelligence agencies, but rather she committed the original sin of not supporting Hillary Clinton. She was a Democrat at the time, and she was the first congressperson who came out during the primaries of 2016 and supported Bernie Sanders. And they destroyed her for it. Now, I'm okay with that because there was one less commie out of my fucking government. And if she really has changed, great, because this is why I'm still worried about, because I do not trust commies uncommie. But the opposition to her is not going to actually be because you met with Assad. You met with Assad. It's going to be because she went for Bernie instead of, it's her turn. It was Hillary's turn, and you said you wanted the old white guy instead. That's what it's going to be about. I mean, that's what the whole Trump hatred's about.
Career military servant who's had a classification at the highest levels for nearly 2 decades. She has impeccable character, impeccable record of service. And she also is a person who I think is going to bring some trust back to the intelligence services.
And this is how I know this lady doesn't really care. Because everything you just said is true. And her question was, but the Wall Street Journal and National Review said she's bad. Notice she didn't name anything herself, right? She didn't go, I did some digging and found out that she met with Assad. She's like, but the Wall Street Journal said. It is. It's just confirmation bias. It's I want to believe bad things about her, and this source over here, I can point and say they're Republicans, so that makes it even better. That makes it authoritative to you. Keldrick, thank you. I am not super familiar with Kash Patel. Why is there so much opposition to him? Because he's outspoken and has not made any bones about thinking a lot of people involved in the Biden administration belong in jail. That's all.
The bureaucrats at our intelligence services have gotten completely out of control. They've been part of the weaponization of our political system, the weaponization 100%. Of our justice system. We need to have good intelligence services who keep us safe, but part of that is restoring trust in those services, and we think Tulsi is the right person to do it. That's
she
why
doesn't
the president
trust those intelligence services.
She recognizes the bureau.
He says we need to bring trust back to him, and she's like, she doesn't believe those. She doesn't believe in them. Yeah. God, this woman's a fucking retard. Oh God, did you just hear that? That was my fat upper lip. Oh God, my face hurts. We need to bring trust back to these. Do you think the way you bring trust back to an organization that people don't trust is to put in somebody who trusts those organizations? Like for instance, let's look at the news media, right? CNN, nobody trusts their coverage. Nobody thinks that these guys are telling the truth. Do you think the person to fix that problem is somebody who believes they're telling the truth? That believes CNN is honest beyond reproach? Or is it somebody who notices, hey, there's a fucking problem here and we need to fix it? What a dumb fucking question. Yes, exactly, Dangerous. She doesn't trust these institutions. Yes, that's the fucking point. That is the gist of what he just said to you. Oh my God. We'll back that up.
Tulsi's the right person to do it. That's
she
why
doesn't
the president.
Trust those intelligence services.
She recognizes the bureaucrats have gotten out of control, and we need somebody there who's going to rein them in and return those services to their core mission of identifying information that's going to keep us safe.
You campaigned on lowering prices.
That was a great answer from him. He's far more diplomatic than I am. Because that's another one where I would have been like, The fuck are you? What did you just say? Are you retarded? Why does my face hurt? I have another abscess tooth. I have to get to a dentist. I need better dental insurance. I could be on a British TV show right now.
Identifying information that's going
Love
to
you,
keep us
Brits.
safe.
You campaigned on lowering prices for consumers.
Is she going to bring up eggs? Holy shit. Please tell me she's about to bring up eggs. There's a problem with eggs throughout the country, right? But here in Michigan, we actually have a bigger problem because our governor back in 2019 signed a bill saying that all eggs have to be from cage-free chickens. And now all of the eggs, we went to the store the other day and there were eggs there. And every carton had to have stamped on it, cage-free. Okay. Fuck. Anyway, back to, I haven't seen this, so I don't know that she's going to the egg thing, but this is where the left has been. They think Donald Trump didn't make eggs cheaper in the first day is a win. These are the same people who a year into Biden's administration were like, he's only been there a year. You can't expect miracles. You can't expect miracles, as they were denying inflation was even a thing.
We've seen all of these executive orders. Which one lowers prices?
We have done a lot, and there.
Which one lowers prices? I would have to see all of the executive orders, but let's just start at one of the obvious ones, right? Getting rid of DEI. You get rid of DEI, you can cut those departments, save money, pass that along to the consumer. Just a thought. And yeah, it's there's not a consumer ingredient in that because he's just doing it on the federal level. But let's say you have 10,000 people in the DEI offices throughout our federal government, which, by the way, is not an unreasonable number. We have millions of people who work for the Fed. Sorry, the federal government. Got to be careful. Not the Federal Reserve, the federal government. You fire 10,000 of them at what? $60K, you're talking $60 million or something like that. So you cut that, and then you are spending less, which brings down inflation. Because that's how inflation works, you crazy bitch.
There have been a number of executive orders that have caused already jobs to start coming back into our country, which is
what about
part of lowering prices.
Hang on. Lowering prices. What about the opening of all of the drilling and stuff? There's one for you on the consumer side of things. We open up more drilling, get oil flowing again, more money into the economy, people getting good jobs, good oil-based jobs. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. We seem to have decently low prices when that was going on back in 2019, if I remember correctly. It wasn't until 2021 where we see a massive spike, the end of 2021, in inflation. And when was that? Oh yeah, that was after Biden had issued a shit ton of these things and spent a shit ton of money.
More capital investment, more job creation in our economy is one of the things that's going to drive down prices for all consumers, but also raise wages so that people.
And that's the real important part, because driving down prices, I hate to be the one to keep saying this to you guys, but for the most part, prices are not going to come back down. The economy just has to level back out by raising the income coming into the American people so that it levels back out, so that wages match inflationary ways that prices do from, comparing to 2019 to 2025. Deflation is probably not coming. It's just probably not coming.
Can afford to buy the things that they need. If you look at our slate of executive orders, no, Margaret, prices are going to come down, but it's going to take a little bit of time, right? The president has been president for all of 5 days. I think that in those 5 days, he's accomplished.
And again, the egg prices will come down when the chicken issue is done. The egg thing is not an egg issue. It's a chicken issue.
much more than Joe Biden did in 4 years. It's been an incredible breakneck pace.
And I do want to point out, for the record, throughout, even at the height of inflation back in 2022, when we talked about egg prices, I told you guys then that's really not Biden's fault. So before anybody's like, oh, you're only saying that because Trump. No, go back and watch. I have been clear on the egg thing all along. Yes, some of that might be from the normal inflation that everything else got, but the majority of the problems we've had of eggs has always been the bird flu issue going around.
Of activity. We're going to work with Congress. We're, of course, going to have more executive orders, and we're going to try the way.
Wait, wasn't it the news that kept telling us and still tell? Anytime the Democrats have something fucked up, like the president doesn't actually control this shit, but suddenly with Donald Trump, like why hasn't he brought down prices already?
Your lower prices is that you encourage more capital investment into our country. And you ask specifically, what executive order is going to help lower prices? All of the stuff that we've done on energy to explore more energy reserves, to develop 100%. More energy resources in the United States.
And again, it's not really going to bring down prices. It'll just bring wages up to match where the inflation of prices was.
Of America, one of the main drivers of increased prices under the Biden administration is that we had a massive increase in energy prices. Donald Trump has already taken multiple executive actions that are going to lower energy prices. And I do believe that means consumers are going to see lower prices at the pump and at the grocery store, but it's going to take a little bit of time. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah.
And while we've done a whole lot.
And again, I'm sorry to keep interrupting with this point, but prices are not coming down. They're not going to come down. What we need is prices to steady and then incomes to go up so that they're comparable to the increase. We need the inflation of wages. Now, I know there's a lot of people like, but that's going to, no, it's not going to cause inflation the way, because we had this massive spike in prices. You do need a spike. Otherwise, you are lowering the standard of living for everybody. Can we live like that? Sure. Because even under, the worst inflation, people were still eating and living. But if we want to get back to the standard we were at, income has to go up. And not income going up just because, hey, we need to get income up. That's how you do drive inflation. Okay, we'll just do this very quickly. Let's say, how many of you guys knew people who became oil workers or had family that became oil field workers under Trump? I knew a lot of people. One of my best friends I used to work with at Walmart, her husband went out and he worked the oil fields, did very, very well for himself. So he makes a whole bunch of money there. They then go out and spend that money on things. That money gets put into those companies who then spend it on their employees, being able to give good wage increases each year. That's the natural cycle. What we shouldn't do is just go, you guys get more money because we said you get more money. That's how you have the inflationary, destroy the economy kind of wage inflation. We need it because supply and demand is like, yeah, we got plenty of money to spend on these people.
We can't undo all of the damage of Joe Biden's presidency.
Well, there are a lot of things
days.
that contributed to higher energy prices, and there was record oil and gas production.
Yes, Joe Biden did many terrible things to lead to an increase in prices. I agree, Margaret.
No, but all the things you experience at the grocery store are what people touch and feel. That's what you were talking about, bacon on the campaign trail.
Of course, of course.
Those things, when do consumers actually get to touch and feel a difference in their lives?
Well, Margaret, how does bacon get to the grocery store? It comes on trucks that are fueled by diesel fuel. If the diesel.
Okay, I need to apologize to JD Vance. I still think that Trump politically made a mistake picking him, but politics ain't what it used to be. So I'm just wrong on that. That is a good answer. When is this going to happen? Okay. When Donald Trump left office, gas was under $2 a gallon. We were just out the other day and it's still over $3. There's no good reason for that, especially with what she just said. One of the things that gets lost in all the nonsense about oil and stuff, we're pumping more oil than ever. How many refineries have we built? How many refineries have we upgraded so that they can handle more fuel? You can sit there and say all day long, we pumped more oil. One, there's several different kinds of oil. There's the light crude, there's the heavy crude. And they're used for different things. If you're pumping more that is only used for making plastics, you're not really helping when it comes to gasoline, which is what we're talking about. Most of the time we talk about the price of oil. What we're really talking about is the price of gasoline in respect to the economy and what he's talking about with how does bacon make it to the store? Yeah, the truck has a little bit of oil in it, but gasoline. And when you can't, refine the gas, it doesn't matter how much fucking oil you pump. Hey, Jack, how you doing, my friend?
Hello. What's this we're not doing a show thing?
We're not doing a show. This is totally not a show. It says so in the title. The title says totally not a show.
Well, I'm sorry I'm late for this not show. Hi, everybody.
Well, I went to sleep and woke up because I rolled on my face again. And then I started reading politics stuff, and I had to talk because people are pissing me off and my face hurts.
Yeah, you sound like you got like cotton in your mouth.
Yeah, that's my fat upper lip.
Oh.
The whole right side of my face is swollen. Right. Well, not the whole, from my cheekbone down to my jawline is swollen up.
You should go see somebody about that.
I did. And I need to go see a dentist about it though. And dentists are expensive, man.
Yeah. And my grandfather used to have a pair of pliers. So that usually worked for dental stuff.
Well, the issue with this one, even if I wanted to do that, the tooth is broken off at the gum line. They're going to have to do surgery, go in there and take it out. And
Jesus, how did you do this?
Oh, this is because of, way back in my mid-20s, I went to the dentist. I had very good dental insurance at the time. And doctor filled all my teeth, and I had a bright, beautiful, shiny smile, Jack. And then when I didn't have good insurance a few years later, the dental stuff he did started breaking and popping out of my mouth. And instead of getting it taken care of because it was expensive, I was like, I'll be fine. and now I look like I live in a trailer park in Britain.
Well,
that's actually, it's not true because the front looks fine. It's all the back ones that are busted to shit.
Damn, dude.
It's why I stopped drinking Mountain Dew. Because Mountain Dew will rot your teeth right at the gum line.
Yeah, well, most of the soft drinks will.
You're not wrong about that, but Mountain Dew specifically keeps a lot of dentists in business because of all the citric acid in it.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yep. I had a long talk with the dentist about that, so. All right. Yeah, eventually I'm going to have a boogie smile. I know it's coming.
I was talking to a chick at the local dollar store. So I'm in there all the goddamn time. They all know me.
Mm-hmm.
And she was celebrating that her 30th birthday made her the longest person, or the person in her family with the longest amount of teeth.
Jesus.
So everybody, including her grandmother, lost their teeth by the time they were 24. It's a weird genetic thing.
Damn.
And I was like, huh? Because she's got pretty jacked up looking teeth. And I was like, man, she'd be pretty if she did something about those teeth. They all look dead, but yeah, they are. So she's probably going to end up with dentures soon. It's like, man, that sucks. So when you told me about that, I'm like, I wonder if they're related.
Now no, this is all, it's that dentist who charged my insurance company a shit ton of money. I don't know if he was using like stuff he made in the basement or what, but yeah, they all pretty.
It was clay. He just baked it in his basement. It's like
just,
his kids, creative clay.
Mm-hmm. If somebody told me it was paper mache, I wouldn't be shocked.
This sounds like it's going to be a giant pain in the ass, dude.
It is. But this is the fourth time the same spot has had this issue, and yeah, I just got to get it taken care of.
So are you actually going to get it taken care of soon, or are you just going to say that and then not do anything for 6 years?
Honestly, I'll probably get it done now because I'm at the point I could probably drive, Jack, but I don't want to chance it. So Lady Monkey has to take me everywhere.
Yeah.
And the one night that this happened, it was like 3:00 in the morning, and I had to go to the hospital, get them to do something about it. And I don't want to wake my wife up for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just got to get it fixed. Anyway, I keep putting it off. I just need to get mine taken care of.
So are we gonna do a semaphore
Way too
show
expensive.
after that?
A what now?
A semaphore show? Because you're not gonna be able to talk if you get mouth surgery.
I'll be all right.
For a couple weeks.
No, not a couple of weeks, couple of days.
Weeks.
The mouth heals surprisingly fast.
That's what she said.
When my son was, oh God, maybe 9 or 10, maybe even a little younger than that, for some reason he had a pencil in his mouth and he fell and it went into the roof of his mouth. And it, about the size of a normal human tongue, gets ripped off the top of the roof of his mouth. It was still attached at the back, but there's this huge, yeah, it kind of looked like he had two tongues.
Huh.
And
That's horrifying.
yeah, we took him to the doctor and like, we don't really stitch up there. So he just had to keep his mouth closed. And within a couple of days, it was sealed.
Weird.
Yeah, the mouth heals incredibly quick. And I do not understand why medical science hasn't looked into why the mouth heals like that and find a way to make the rest of my body heal that way.
I think they know, they're not telling anyone, just like the cure for cancer, which they almost certainly have.
I'm going to give you guys a cure that I do not recommend, but it 100% works. If you have bad cuts and stuff, go hang out in the ocean for a day. I know it sounds unsanitary as shit, right? If you've ever seen the ocean, it sounds pretty unsanitary, but it is amazing the healing properties of the ocean.
Have you ever read the aquatic ape hypothesis?
I have not.
This woman back in the 60s or 70s wrote The Descent of Woman, and it was a sort of feminist parody thing. And after that, she was approached by this scientist who said, I read your book. It was a fun satire, but have you ever looked into actual evolution? And she said, no, not really. And he said, well, there's this weird gap in there where it looks like, if you really look at the human body, it looks like we spent a lot of time in the ocean. Because that's what, and he was explaining how he thought that's why people had webbed fingers sometimes. It was a throwback to an older time when we were basically hiding from predators in the ocean. Like, oh, lions are coming, get in the water.
Right.
So, and he theorized that that's why we have like so little hair, but it's also why hair is strategically placed over major organs. You have hair on your head to protect your brain, on your crotch, and on your chest to warm, because you need to stay warm in the water. It's a fascinating book. It's kind of hard to find these days, but I read all three of them, and they were pretty interesting, and it would explain a lot of the weird stuff that comes up, like some people are born with the webbed feet, and why our brains are developed the way they are, because dolphins have the same brain setup that we do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just something I was curious about. The natural healing properties of water would be explained by us spending so much time out there.
BV says saltwater debridement, I think is how you say that word, has been a thing for a long time, Monkey. I've never heard anybody actually talk about this, but we're going to take JD off the screen. He's bitch slapping that chick left and right, and that's great, but we are so far away from there.
We're talking about monkeys now.
When I lived in Virginia, I was probably, 10 or 11 at the time. We went to a place called Mount Trashmore. It is a Virginia Beach monument that is literally just an old trash dump that they put dirt over top of and made into a park.
That sounds healthy.
They have a skate park there, and we were going to go at the skate park, but it was really busy. So we decided to ride our skateboards down Mount Trashmore, which, by the way, it's just a giant hill. It's not like a mountain. I was too afraid to do it standing up. So I decided I was going to do it sitting down. And I'm going down, and you pick up a lot of speed, and I fell off the side and removed all of the skin on the back of my left thigh.
Ooh.
Which I did not tell my mother about because I knew I'd get in trouble.
Yeah.
I did eventually start going down the hill standing up, which apparently it was a lot safer than doing it sitting down. I didn't fall one time doing it riding. But anyway, we go to the beach a couple of days later, and I spent all day in the water. And at the end of that day, my leg was healed. There was no skin on it when I went in there, Jack, and it was all better. And that was the first time I noticed it. So anytime I would get a bad cut, I'd just wait for when we went to the ocean, and sure enough, it'd be fine.
Wow.
Yeah. I can't explain it.
I find it better you don't. Live with the mystery. Sometimes mysteries are better.
Maybe it's that salt water. What was it? Debridement? What the fuck is debridement mean? That sounds like a smart word I would never look up unless somebody said it to me. I need to learn how to spell.
Debridement is the medical removal of dead, damaged, or infected tissue to improve the healing potential of the remaining healthy tissue.
And that's kind of what happened because, it scabbed over, of course. And then after that day, the scabs just all fell off and I was fine.
Yeah, it's what maggots do to you.
Is it really?
Yeah, they eat away the dead skin.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Real quickly, though, thank you, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist donation. Yay. The mouth heals fast because it's in direct contact with bacteria and such. As is part of the initial defense immune system, the body ramps up healing. The mouth also gets damaged often, so that also adds to the healing. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we cut our mouths all the time eating and never even notice it. It's just the bad ones that we notice.
Yeah, where it hurts for like 2 or 3 days because you get like the equivalent of a paper cut on your mouth.
But if you think about it, if you've ever had any kind of damage to your mouth, it heals really quick. So even if I have to go get surgery and stuff, within 2 days we'd be back. I'm sure, maybe 3.
But
I don't think it would be that bad.
I'll be scared.
You could do a show.
No, that seems like a lot of work. And what if nobody shows up? It'll be embarrassing.
Oh, stop it! You hang out with me. There's no reason for embarrassment.
That'd be
You are beyond embarrassment if you're my friend, my friend.
Oh, I know. But nonetheless, I'll be like, oh my God, nobody's going to show up to my stream.
What do we have here?
Mostly I'll just be like, oh, we're not doing a show? I'm going to bed.
There you go.
It's usually what happens.
Oh, man, I could so easily go back to bed right now.
Oh, it sucks, dude. I went to bed at like 2 a.m. and I just got up a little bit ago and saw you were live. I've been sleeping like 1 to 2 hours at a stretch and then getting up, and I have no idea why. You have to go back to taking melatonin.
Yeah, it's not healthy for you long term. Hang on. I want to find that video. I got to go over to Fugi's page for a second. I don't know if this guy's actually illegal, but I found an illegal that I support, Jack.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. Where's he at? I'm going to put Fugi's whole thread in here too, because he just has a lot of funny shit he found on TikTok today. All right. I'll probably get hit for this one by them and Guns N' Roses and RCA or whoever owns this shit. It says, point of view when you're trying to blend in so Trump won't deport you. Are you ready for this, Jack?
No.
If this guy's actually illegal, he can stay in the country.
We can work something out, yeah.
We'll send Harry Sisson in his place to go back to Mexico. I just love that. He got the long hair, got the bandana on top, singing the song entirely incorrectly. But yeah, you made me laugh, homie, so you win. Let's grab this whole thread. Watching this whole thing will probably take you half an hour. He had a shit ton of these today, Jack, and much more entertaining than Libs of TikTok has been for a while.
Oh, Fugi always finds some really entertaining shit.
There we go.
Real quick. Thank you, Retro V Gamer. Also, for you, Jack, Sunshine Stream Forever! Yeah, I got to get back to doing those occasionally.
Eagle says with a fake blunt, not just a fake blunt, a giant fake blunt.
Cartoonishly large.
Oh my God. Now that one made me laugh. Also, the ones where people are. Did you see the one of the guy who's like, Donald Trump's deporting people? My mother-in-law's an illegal and he totally shouldn't show up, and then gives her address.
Yeah.
I appreciate those people too. We need more laughter in our life. Again, today I saw a white lady who got pissed off because somebody made a joke.
I don't get it, man.
People need to learn to laugh more.
You want to see something funny?
Always.
Hang on.
Monk, are you a Cheech and Chong fan? Not really. I mean, I like Cheech Marin when he's done other work. Like I loved him in the movie Tin Cup. But the Cheech and Chong movies and their comedy albums and stuff, I was never high enough to enjoy them.
Yeah, it was too much pot humor for me.
Yeah.
That's really only funny to people smoking weed. Some of their other stuff was funny, but...
Yeah, they can make funny jokes, and if you hear them talk, they're both funny men. But I never, like... I think the first Cheech and Chong I ever saw was Up in Smoke.
Yeah.
And it's got a couple of funny moments from it, but most of it is just like, I got to be high for this, don't I?
Yeah, it's lazy pot humor.
Born in East LA, I love both the song and the movie. But that was Cheech. Chong really wasn't a part of that. Unless he like helped write it or something. I know he's not in the movie as a main character, at least. All right. I cannot. Even the cops couldn't hold it together. Oh, this should be fun. That's what it says on the screen that I'm reading to you as I'm getting it loaded.
This cop cracked me up, man. I'd have lost it way before he did.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Oh, Jesus. The craziest thing you're not going to believe.
What happened?
So we got a call. Somebody's concerned. Are you like a hairstylist?
No. I didn't think sorry, my that's my chicken strips.
I can't tell. You're
okay.
So there's like hair hanging out of your thumb.
Oh my Jesus.
Someone's
Oh,
like,
that's my weave. Oh, hold on. That's my wig. Hold on. Oh.
That's my weave.
What did he say? That there's hair growing out of what?
There's hair hanging out of your trunk.
Oh. Can you imagine being the person who saw that and had to report it?
Let it keep going, because at the end they'll show you a photo.
I actually feel a little bad for this cop.
you got to come see it though.
Oh my Jesus. I got.
That poor
You got to see
lady.
it though.
Oh Jesus.
You know, his first thought was, I'm going to have to write a murder report. So when he gives that sigh and starts laughing,
Oh my God.
he's like, I'm going to get out of so much paperwork.
He still now has to file a report that he had to go check on a dead body that was just a lady's weave.
Yeah, and he has to do it all serious. Like, we received a report of some hair sticking out of a trunk, and I responded to such and such at 2:14 p.m. and addressed the issue with the vehicle owner. And instead of like, ha, it turned out to be your stupid fucking hairdo.
I hope that lady has a great sense of humor about this. She didn't seem to take it horribly. Because this is the kind of story you tell at family reunions for the rest of time.
And it's not about you, it's about her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but oh my God, remember that time your weave was sticking out and the cops showed up and they laughed at you?
Oh God, that's fucked up. That's funny as shit though.
Right?
Oh. And yeah, that cop, that was the right reaction. I don't know how you have any other reaction to that.
It's both comedy and relief because, like, oh my God, thankfully this isn't a murder.
Right, because
But at the same time, it's hilarious.
the other option is there's a dead person in there, and our job just got really sucked today.
Yeah. So,
Oh man.
check that third link. I think you'll find that one funny.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm making noises because my fucking face hurts. All right. Damn, that girl got some big old boobies. Not the bride, the big girl over here. Look at the size of that thing.
Fat chick.
Anyway, back it up for whatever we missed.
If there is anybody here who objects today to this wedding, please speak now or forever hold your peace.
I did not know that was going to happen when I moved a minute ago.
Well, you were mooing at the chick, not the random cow that showed up.
It's what the cow's mooing at too.
If there
my daughter was at my wedding. Do the math on that, guys. And when we just went to the courthouse, so when the judge asked that question, my daughter yelled. She did not want to share her daddy with her mama. That is amazing. Video contains an advertisement for the gambling. Who gives a shit? Why would you put a fucking community note on that?
I don't know.
Is there anybody who watched that and then saw an ad for a casino and was like, wait, is this ad on this video?
I assumed it was somebody's handle. I didn't even pay attention to that at all.
When I closed it down, I just noticed there was a community note. So I read it and I'm like, that really?
Yeah.
If you're so dumb that you need a community note to let you know that there's an ad attached to it, then you're too dumb for a community note to work.
You want to hear the dumbest thing I heard today? Speaking of that?
Yeah.
Here's a headline for you. Bank robber accidentally turns himself in to Bullhead City Police.
Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah, so he showed up at the police department when he reported a crime he claimed was committed in response to his crime.
Oh, my God. This is like when drug dealers call the police because somebody robbed them.
Oh, he showed up at the station. That's how dumb this guy was. So, here, I'll just read it to you if you don't mind.
Yeah, please.
According to the Bullhead City Police Department, they posted surveillance photos from 2 recent bank robberies on social media. The suspect in his vehicle matched a robbery committed on January 3rd in Bullhead City to another bank robbery committed 1 week later in Kingman. Mojave's silent witness offered a joint reward of $1,000 for any information leading to the arrest of the Bull City and Kingman bank robber. Shortly after the media post, Bullhead City detectives received a tip from a citizen who reported they knew the man, identified as John Steiner, and confirmed Steiner's truck positively matched the surveillance pictures. You're thinking, that seems straightforward, right? No.
Yeah.
As detectives were working on a search warrant, Steiner came into the Bullhead City police lobby to report a weapons offense at approximately 9 p.m. Steiner wanted to report that someone pointed a gun at him, accused him of being the, quote, bank robber, end quote, that was posted on social media. Steiner was taken into custody for robbery. Detectives executed a search warrant on his truck, which he drove to the police department, and located all the clothing, including sunglasses, hat, and mask that matched what he wore during the last 2 bank robberies. Police also found the notes he used in the bank robberies, demanding money from the tellers.
He's a smart one.
Yeah. Apparently the guy that reported him, that they were working on the search warrant for the warrant to begin with, from the tip line, that was his neighbor. And the neighbor was like, "You're the bank robber." And he's like, "Nuh-uh. You pointed a gun at me. I'm tattling." So there you go. I thought that was hilarious. Like, stupid criminal of the week.
I love those. I used to have a book. I can't remember if it was like World's Dumbest Criminals or something like that.
Yeah, they had a couple of those.
And there's several stories I remember that one of them was a bank robbery where what the police did was lied about how much money was stolen. So just for, I don't remember the exact dollars, but let's say 10,000 was stolen. When they reported it to the press, they said 30,000 was stolen. And So one of the people who was involved thought the other one was cheating him and went to the police over it. Like, for real? That's also the source of that story I told you about the drug cop in full uniform walks up to a known drug house, knocks on the door, asks for drugs, and the guy goes, "But you're a cop," and the cop says, I'm cool. And sold the cop in uniform drugs.
That's like, well, we don't have enough for a warrant. Hey, fuck it, wait here, I'll be right
Got
back.
this. There's also one in there. A criminal was breaking into a building and he was going through the duct system and he fell. And he comes down and splits a beam on a Friday night, and the building is only open Monday through Friday.
Oh, shit.
So he was on his nutsack with his full body weight against a steel beam for 2 fucking days. They found him still dangling there Monday morning.
That's probably going to leave a mark.
Yeah.
They call them stretch balls.
Yeah, I love that book because the forward of the book, the author's talking about how he was reaching out to these police departments, and the police department's like, we don't really want, because you're just going to make us look bad, because that's what reporters often do.
Yeah.
This guy's like, no. I just want to talk about dumb criminals, and yeah, there's some great fucking stories in that book.
Yeah, see, that's the side benefit of being a cop. Yeah, you got a lot of shitty things to do, but sometimes comedy value ensues, and you're going to be right on scene to see it.
This one guy that they knew had been stealing stuff, he was a petty criminal, but the police were staking out this hotel for a completely different reason. And they see his truck go by, and he's been arrested enough times, they know it's him. Well, then he backs up in the middle of the fucking street, and then he takes off again. And a couple minutes later, he comes around a second time. And the third time he comes around, steals the hotel's lawnmower in front of cops. Sure.
That doesn't seem like a particularly intelligent move.
Oh, anyway, we have another video here, Jack. What's this one?
You might want to listen to it a little bit because you might get hit for audio on that one.
Oh, okay. Let me check. I so want to play this, but I think you're right. We might get hit for that.
Yeah, I'll just drop the link in the chat.
There we go. Yeah.
Hang on. There you go. There's something to watch after the program, guys.
For those of you who don't want to click on it, it's somebody misunderstanding the term party pooper, and we'll just leave it at that.
And it's funny.
Is he being real?
I think he's mocking one of his friends. That's the impression I got.
He's not he's got an accent, not native English speaker. So we do have a lot of terms that I could see could be confusing to foreigners.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's why they should stay out so they don't get confused.
Well, you don't want them getting scared by the confusion. It might hurt them.
Oh, my God. We're going to have to wrap this up. My fucking face hurts.
Well, you should stop hurting your face.
I know. It's so pretty. It's not nice to do to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's unfair. It seems like somebody, maybe somebody that's really ugly is trying to fuck with your face.
It probably is. Somebody with a small, ugly head is like, he's got a big, pretty one. That's not fair.
Right?
Yeah.
The
probably bald too, because I got this luscious this luscious mane of mine.
Yeah, they're like, oh, look at that beautiful head of gay hair.
Yep.
And his beautifully large head. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of weird people out there. It'd be like the creepy uncle, and It's Always Sunny with the big fake hands.
Yeah. Yes. Uncle Jack. That's what. No, I was gonna say start calling him Uncle Jack, but no, that's fucked up because that dude is. I love the episode where he shows up in the candy or in the ice cream van. And he's like, give him an orange pop. I don't have any ice cream in here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming and hanging out. We made it almost 2 full hours, and I wasn't even sure I was going to make it 1. So
what's the sweet shit? I made it like 20 minutes.
That's fair too. Still not a show though, because I wasn't doing a show tonight. Thank you for coming and hanging out. Thank you so very much for the donations. You guys are awesome. Jack, anything you'd like to shell out?
I'll throw a link to something cool in the chat. But as always, thank you guys for the donations. Thanks for coming out night after night, even to the non-shows. And you guys are awesome.
And with that, we're wrapping up. Jack, pleasure as always, my friend.
Always glad to be here.
Guys, have a wonderful night. I'll see y'all next time.
Bye, everybody.
My face hurts, so I'm not singing. Bye-bye.